Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, cool. So this is how it's going to go. It's just basically as is. Um,
Great.
yeah. Okay, so basically I just wanted to talk to you about the project in general. So the project that I'm talking about, like really specifically, was my second album. It's going to be called The Still of Our Dreams, and it was going to be a full-length album. It was probably going to be like something like 12 or 13 songs with my producer helping me record it, as well as being there for the post-production and doing a lot of instruments on it. But I was going to write all the songs and all that. But recently I've sort of am leaning away from that because of a couple of things. One is it seems like my project is being pushed back anyway, like it's being left on the back burner or being put on the back burner, whatever the phrase is. Yeah. So that kind of sucks, but
Right.
I get that it's been like a scheduling thing or whatever. I honestly haven't even talked to my producer in at least a month at this point, and it's been forever since we've actually recorded anything or made any progress on the Still of Our Dreams. Well,
Sure.
the second thing that made me sort of want to change direction on this whole thing is I've heard a lot from like YouTubers and from other people who produce content, talking to other people and stuff. They lean more towards independent artists releasing content when they can, in the form of like singles and shorter albums like EPs and stuff, on a more consistent basis, rather than releasing a full-length album every 2 years. And that makes like a full-length album every 2 years makes sense for like Taylor Swift and Breaking Benjamin, and then like people who have like full financial backing and can do that kind of thing, who can build a fan base and then tour for 2 years afterwards, promoting the whole thing. But for me, I can't do that. So it would make sense that if I'm trying to build a following, if I'm trying to build anything, that I give people content, so
Right. People forget really easily. I think it's important to kind of stay at the forefront of their mind, which is
exactly.
difficult to do if you're waiting 2 years in between things
Exactly.
are releasing.
Because after like it releases and I'm able to generate some buzz, people share it, whatever, and like it lasts like what, 3 months at the most or whatever, and then I have to find some way to like keep their interest and stuff, and then 2 years is just not gonna 2 years is not gonna cut it.
Right.
So I've sort of been leaning in a different direction, and I honestly, even going into this phone call that we've talking about, I don't even fully know what the direction is going to be yet, but that's kind of the point of this whole thing, is the lead up to what the Still of Our Dreams becomes, whether it's going to be a series of singles or whether it's going to be a shorter EP or something like that, which I'm thinking is going to be. But I'm also going to be putting a lot of effort, a lot of focus, a lot of emphasis on every project in between that. So like I've mentioned to you that I made a list of projects that I have, whether it be writing projects or music projects and stuff, and I'm gonna really give those time and effort and stuff. Not that I wasn't going to before, but it's the Still of Our Dreams isn't going to be like project number one anymore.
Is that just out of logistics, or you just are trying to give that space to be creative and figure it out, or?
It's kind of both. Logistics is definitely a heavy part of it. But I feel like even if I was able to do it like tomorrow and just finish it, get everything done with, I think I would. But the fact that that's not the reality, I'm going to look towards my other options.
Yeah.
So one way that I've thought of the in between, what the leading up to the Still of Our Dreams, whatever that becomes, is working with people. Or one of the things I didn't mention in this conversation is I'm working on content with the guy that I do the YouTube covers with Victor. And so we're working on music. And then I'm also working with music from a different producer. It's just one song, but it's still content, you know?
Yeah.
I'll also be doing what I can on YouTube, whether it be like producing covers, which I actually do. I really do have a lot of fun doing. They just may not be covers with Victor, with the guy from the Netherlands anymore. But it all leads into there being a lot more consistent content. Even if I can't put any solid dates on it, I'm able to solidly have things in the works.
Yeah, that's good. We talk about this a lot, but consistency is one of the most important things, I think.
And absolutely one of the things that I struggle with most. So,
but you made a list.
I did. I made a list. And actually, speaking of the list, I think. So I'm looking at my list right now, and I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I have 11 projects, music projects that I'm working on currently that are they're on the list. Now the sense of urgency varies from each project, but they're all projects, you know? And so these are things that in theory over time, and I think it's safe to say before whatever Still of Our Dreams becomes, all of these projects will be done before then. So this is just 11 things already in the lineup that are going to be done, or I mean, in theory, will be done.
Yeah, and that's good too. I think just staying in front of people.
I don't quite know which avenue or which way to think about it. As long as the Still of Our Dreams, I think, is a thing that I want to make happen, mostly because I put a lot of thought into it, you know, even just thinking back to my last release, The Smiles You'll Never See Again, I put a lot of thought into the name, the songs, the cover art and stuff. I put a lot of thought into the overall concept. And so I already had the concept, the title, the songs and stuff ready for the Still of Our Dreams. And so trying to reshape that into something different is something that's it doesn't seem like a big deal, but to me it's a big deal, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So.
It's a lot of energy and mental space that you gave to that project.
Exactly.
I can imagine. Yeah.
And so
it's bittersweet.
Yeah.
Transitioning.
Absolutely. Yeah. Trying to make it into something that will work out of something that right now doesn't feel like it is, at least. We'll see how that goes. And what I was saying is I don't quite know how to go about that. I know that it needs to become something, or that I'm going to turn it into something. I just don't know what. But not only that, I don't know how to get it there. Oh,
yeah. So as far as taking steps to actually figure out how you want to transition this and that sort of thing, how do you go about doing that?
Honestly, I have absolutely zero clue. I think I need to rework my way through what the Still of Our Dreams is. That means rethinking what songs I really like and which ones I really want to make into something now, and then which ones I'm comfortable letting sit for a while, or giving them the necessary time if that's something that it needs. I also probably need to give consideration into just starting from the ground up with nothing but the title of the album. So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
You think that part of it is just your album doesn't make sense with your transitioning, or you need that space to be creative? Where are you coming from with that?
I think, yes. I think the first one. I don't think that right now, because of all the thought that I put into making it what it is, I don't think it makes sense as anything else. Yeah, so what it currently is, or what I envision it to be, as anything else, I feel like may be less of a product. It may be less of a finished version. I feel like if I just choose like 5 songs off of this and then release it, like it's not going to be the project I envisioned, you know? And that's kind of heartbreaking, like even just like that. So I'm not 100% sure on it.
But you ultimately feel that giving up that cohesive album that you've worked so hard on is the best career move?
I do. Whether reluctantly or not, and right now it is, because it's like we talked about before, even just like logistically, this doesn't seem like a reality. I would have to do some serious maneuvering to keep it as is, and then even after that, it would take more time.
Right, because the sheer fact of you can't do it on your own.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It seems like there's going to be a lot of complications just along the way, and I am honestly not excited about it at all. But I'm excited about the focus that I'm able to put on everything else while I figure it out, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, and I know that you have some really exciting things aside from your album that you are working on. No, that's good.
Yeah. I think that's something that I probably haven't done before, because I feel like up until recently, the focus has been The Still of Our Dreams, has been the album, and everything else has sort of been like on the sidelines. It's like I do it when I can, and not that those don't get the attention they require. In the moment, they absolutely do. But the album has always been priority. It's always been like, this is the focus, you know? And now that it seems like that's no longer the case, I actually get to sort of give more perspective to all these other things.
Yeah. You're just going to have more space to give them as far as mental capacity and creativity goes, I think. When you typically think of musicians or artists, like, you think that they're working on albums or they're working on something that's going to be a cohesive unit. But it's an interesting thought to think that you might be working on stuff that doesn't really go together whatsoever. Is unique, and also, of course, lines up with your specific artistry. Is that, I don't know. That may be the wrong way to word that.
That's actually a really good point. Is I don't think I thought about that before you said it, that I'm working on things that probably don't have anything to do with each other, like in the slightest. And they don't fit cohesively together and stuff, but they're still, but they do, in the sense that they're, you know, like career moves and stuff.
Right. Yeah. And I think that everything that you do is going to have a specific, like, Faupel touch to it.
Yeah.
Which does bring sort of a sense of cohesiveness, but not really in a way that an album would, which is, you know, freeing, like you were mentioning earlier, I would imagine. Yeah, and exciting. Also terrifying, I would imagine, giving up an entire album for the sake of your career is just mortifying.
Yeah.
And also terrifying.
Yeah, it is.
But it does seem like you think that is the best way to go. Interesting dichotomy there.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And you know, like voicing it and hearing you speak it back to me, like it makes it like all the more, like it increases the dichotomy, or like the reality of the dichotomy, that like it absolutely is. It's absolutely terrifying, but like, it's like you said, like freeing in a way also.
Yeah.
Also,
so overall good then.
Yeah. The terrifying doesn't go away, so we'll see.
Right. It probably won't. Maybe ever.
Yeah. Oh man. So this is gonna be fun.
Right.
Oh. Oh.
No.
Feeling it now. Not really. But
It's great. Just sit in it for a moment.
yeah, I know. Sort of taking in the reality of what has just been exposed.